Well, hello, and what can I say? It's been a bloodbath on cryptocurrencies generally. Um, Certainly, since I've been started, I haven't seen such an across-the-board downturn on virtually every cryptocurrency there is. Um, the big news, of course, is Bitshares, and the fact that I, like many, have completely called it wrong in terms of I took a long out. And I'm, as you can see, pretty much screwed at the moment. This is much better than it was. We're starting to see a slight recovery. It's going to take a long time before anyone gets confident again, I think, in Bitshares. I think something snapped in the last few days. So where do we begin? Well, I'm going to begin at the point whereby I was actually doing okay. I've been doing some shorts on, let's see, on Bitshares, and one of those shorts didn't work out very well. I cancelled it and took a loss of about $5. And then I took a long right here. I took a long at around 21, I think it was about 2120. And that was on around the 7th or 8th of October. And that long turned into a very good bet. And effectively I believe I sold just after the first peak on that small breakout, and I sold around 23.20, and I made a small profit of about $5, I think. Not much more than that. At the same time, I was actually doing something similar with the MadeSafe coin, and again was making a small profit. So I was doing quite well. And then I took another long on Bitshares, and that was I took out about 2380, I think it was. At that time, you were pretty sure that in the countdown to the launch of Bitshares 2.0 and the graphene interface that the price was only going to go higher. And correctly, it did go higher. And I remember it went up to as far as 25, I think it was 2520. And again, a nice small little profit. And that's where my emotions took over, and where careful analysis of the charts and of some of the weak signals coming from all sorts of different places on the internet should have told me that I should have sold at that point. But no, I was convinced this was going to go all the way to the moon. So on the 12th of October, there was the first shock and a major dump. It should be said that there are a couple of whales who are assaulting Bitshares at every opportunity. This isn't just people cashing out long positions or short positions. This is a deliberate, massive attack. I mean, in some cases, we were seeing over 100 Bitcoin, 177 Bitcoins worth of selling. And so someone with very deep pockets was determined to get that price down. Maybe they had missed out on the early price or something. And so rather than getting out, I took advantage, I thought at the time, that the price was going down. I thought that 2380 was a little high, and so I bought more. I bought a lot more, and a lot more and a lot more. And eventually I got my base price down to 2315 here, and I have about 47,500 Bitshares, which is worth in the order, or was worth of the order of about nearly 1 Bitcoin. And as the price went down, I just had to keep buying, essentially to try and um, get my base price down to a bit more of a reasonable level. And as it went down and people started to panic and all the longs started to be called and margin calls you could see were starting to come in, I decided that fundamentally that's wrong, that Bitshares is very successful in its new launch. The 2.0 interface is extremely good. I think it's very accessible. I think the feedback so far on the community has been popular, and I think the transition from Bitshares 1.0 to 2.0 has been quite smooth. Whether the hype was justified is obviously the big question, and I think people realized that when the surge did not materialize and the opposite in fact happened, that there was some fundamental misunderstanding about what was going on, which I think has just terrified everyone to the point that Bitshares has gone down and down and down, and as of, let's see, 24 hours ago, yep, it hit the absolute low of about 1320, possibly a bit lower, and that is one of the lowest ever on Bitshares. I think there was only a little bit at the beginning of the launch a long time ago that it was as low. Now what I did at that point, my margin was over 100% at one point, and it started to crash. Also at the same time, I had a positive position on Made Safe coin, which was counteracting my crashing position on Bitshares, but then also Made Safe turned negative as well, quite significantly, and so that contributed. So I decided to ride this one out. I'm not going to give in. I feel fundamentally that Bitshares is going to work, that maybe we're not going to see it go up to 3.0, but certainly its fair market price, I would have thought, is around somewhere between 2.2 and 2.4, in my opinion. And so what I did, I totally cashed in everything. So basically I've put into my margin account everything I own in order to stop myself getting a margin call. I also sold some extra Gridcoin, which again was at a price, pretty good price. Gridcoin seems to be bucking the trend. It's one of the few coins that really is surprising people with its ability to keep going up. But I cashed in some of that just to sustain this position, because I am not in the mood for losing one Bitcoin in terms of margin call. And obviously, the lesson I have learned is quite simple, which is you do not take longs and you do not take shorts on a margin trade for long periods of time. What's the point? If you're going to do that, you would buy low and sell high. The whole point of this is you take small gains whenever you can get them, and you close the positions and you watch, and then you open a new position. And so if you miss out, then so be it. And so this idea that you're missing out is an illusion, because if you watch how cryptocurrencies work over many months, they go up and down so dramatically that there will always be a tomorrow, and that's the thing. And of course emotion gets in the way of that, and you're convinced this time will be different, and this time was not different. Anyway, so let's go back to where we are now. There is a steady increase. One of the important things I've been watching has been the buy orders. The buy orders went down as low as about, I think it was in the order of about 100, possibly even lower, but around 100 Bitcoin buy orders, and it has slowly over this last 24 hours been creeping up. We're at 232. At the height of Bitshares, there was around 350 to 400 buy orders, so it's still significantly down. The other thing I'm watching are sell orders. We've been at a high of about 38 million Bitshares. It's down at around 33 million. Before the massive sell-off, it was in the order of about 24 million. So these things are showing me that the market depth is starting to recover. There is a little bit more confidence returning, but I think everyone is very jittery. And so I think what you'll see is that these huge swings, especially with this whale continuing to attack the price whenever there seems to be an increase, a sharp increase like this is suspicious, and no one believes in it anymore, and hence it crashes down. This slow increase is much more encouraging. Do I think this is it, that this will go slowly up? I certainly hope so. I think when you go through all the resistance points, there are many resistance points, and there are some big walls that have to be broken through. Let's see, it's getting a little better. It was much worse than this. But there are a lot of challenges ahead, so I don't think we're going to see Bitshares go above, I think, 19 to 20. I don't think we'll see that within the week. Hope I'm wrong. It would be very nice to see some increase in confidence and everyone getting back to the idea that this coin is worth something. Also, MadeSafe would be very nice if it was also to go back to the sorts of places, the sort of levels it was at before. In terms of lending fees, then I'm going to be paying through the nose, and however, you know, you can take a long position even at quite high interest rates, and you could probably do two to 3 weeks without fundamentally really making a dent in the account. Certainly at the moment I got nothing to lose because I am not giving up on such a huge amount of Bitcoin. I will probably accept a loss on this trade. I'll be happy with a $10 loss, I think. I'll probably go for about 0.1 Bitcoin loss on this, unless there's some evidence that something more fundamentally has now shifted back in my favor. So there is the lesson today on margin trading, and certainly I've learned a lot. Whether I'll remember all of this when the emotions get high and the buzz gets going, we shall wait and see. Here's one interesting thing though, while I'm here on Bitshares. I've been trying to figure out why all cryptocurrencies are suffering, except Gridcoin, of course. And it seems to me more than ever that of all the cryptocurrencies, it is Bitshares that is almost inversely linked to Bitcoin. It's out by maybe a week in terms of the troughs and the lows. So in effect, when you see significant lows in Bitcoin is when you see peaking of Bitshares, and when you see highs of Bitcoin, then you see troughs, quite significant troughs in Bitshares, and that could help to explain this last 4 days or so, because we've seen a significant turnaround in the Bitcoin price, quite a ramp up here. You could almost turn this upside down and it would start to look like the Bitshares graph. Whether that's true is just my speculation. It's hard to tell, but it does feel that for some reason Bitshares and Bitcoin are inversely linked in some way. I think a lot of the cryptocurrencies have been affected. I think when there's a sense that there's some real profit to be made again from Bitcoin, I think people basically hedge and get out of cryptocurrencies, reduce their positions and go back into Bitcoin. And certainly it seems like overall the tide went out on cryptocurrencies and that all the individual coins have been affected, except Gridcoin. In terms of Bitshares 2.0, I like it. I've tried the online wallet. It's I've still got a lot to learn. I still feel that they need to do a bit more work on explaining to people who are new to Bitshares, who have no experience of Bitshares 1.0, exactly what all the different issues to do with witnesses and delegates and all sorts of complicated terminology that's very, very tricky for someone new coming to this. I do think they need to put that a bit higher up in terms of a real idiot's guide to how to do it. As I said, the community seems reasonably happy, and certainly a lot of people very, very convinced that they're going to stay long on this. And I think I will too. And what I'm hoping is that at some point when I work out how to download and use the Bitshares interface, that I would like very much to be trying out, the sort of the Bitshares bonds, the Bitshares commodity trading, and all the other things that it seems to offer. I do think that's going to be quite a fascinating experiment. Anyway, I shall leave it at that point. Thought I'd give you an insight into what a bloodbath looks like on margin trading. I think I can get through it. I don't think I'm going to make a profit, and I think I'll make a loss, but at least the loss will be more acceptable than where it is at the moment. And I'd be interested in your feedback, certainly if you've also been hit, been caught out by this downturn in Bitshares, and also your views on where we're going to go in the next few days and weeks in terms of Bitshares, and whether we're actually on the verge of seeing yet another crash and to even lower lows, which of course is still possible. And for me, I'm still watching. We're up at 247 Bitcoin on the buy orders, and around 33 million now on the sell in terms of 33 million Bitshares. So we shall see. We'll see what this tug of war will reveal. Anyway, I'll keep updating. Got a feeling there'll be quite a few days ahead of me before I can start to feel like I can relax a bit on this. Anyway, please like this video. Please subscribe so you can keep up to date on my adventures in cryptocurrencies. And thanks for all your feedback as well. It's much appreciated. Okay, bye.